welcome to the final edition of Box Score. We're going to be talking some baseball, some softball, basketball, and I don't know.
A little bit of everything.
That's
Nobody's
right.
playing pool, are they?
Gary Collins along with Murphy Fair. Justin Malden always doing a great job for us. And Murph, it's sadly coming to an end. I know we've done 30 weeks in a row, and dating back to August in football, and it's something you and I have a passion for, and that's sports.
Well, it is, and the kids at all 5 schools that we cover are not only very athletic, they're good kids. They're
Right.
good people, and that's a testament to the coaches
Right.
and the administration and the schools themselves. They're a good group to follow. For
It is.
sure.
It has been a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and look at our pavement restorations Class A state tournament. Of course, you got Van Buren County, the only team in the Upper Cumberland. First time in forever. I don't know that I can ever remember where a Clark Range or a Clay or a Pickett has not been in that, but Van Buren goes to Clark Range and gets the win, Murph. So, yes, there is a team from the Upper Cumberland Van Buren that's there, but that old District 7A is not represented in the state tournament, and I'm sure you'd have to go back probably to the 70s to find the last time.
It's one of those cold days in July, right?
Right,
when the Upper Cumberland's not represented in the girls' state tournament. But Van Buren's a good basketball community,
Right.
and they've come close so many times. And I know there won't be many people left in Spencer when they play Wednesday. When they played earlier this week against Memphis Middle College.
Go ahead and look at the Class 1A boys tournament. Of course, Chattanooga Prep, the defending state champion, knocked out Clay County, and then Pickett County, the only team in our area. Of course, Pickett under Joseph Amonette, we had him on the show, I guess it was last week or week before last, carrying the banner, Murphy, for the Upper Cumberland.
Yeah, they really are. And with Santa Fe, were they in there last year?
I can't remember.
I'm not sure, but 28-3 is pretty good playing in the mid-state, and so that could be the Cinderella team in boys basketball.
You know, that Chattanooga Prep, very, very athletic team from a year ago. In fact, that's where Pickett went to and lost in the sub-state last year before Chattanooga Prep went on to win it all. Let's go ahead and look at the Class 2A girls state tournament. Actually, it's going on as we speak from the Murphy Center in Murfreesboro. And when you look, of course, the York Institute, to me, they've got an outstanding draw, Murphy. I see them going at least to the championship game for Coach Michael Green. Of course, 28-5, won the district, won the region, won their sub-state game. You got East Nashville there, who Jackson County went to, and East Nashville knocked out last year by Smith County. That's a very tough matchup in round 1, Murphy. If you look, 3 teams with 1 loss, and all 3 are in that side of the bracket. So, Loretto, I know you were there a year ago. You've got a tough one to hold.
I was there a few nights ago, too.
Right. McMinn Central, Westview, and East Nashville all in your side of the bracket. I don't know if Coach Michael Green had drawn the state tournament up himself to make the bracket the best he could, that he wouldn't have drawn it just like this.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be interesting because Summertown is a very, very good girls basketball team. And it wouldn't surprise me if they come out of that bracket. Westview and East Nashville, you got to think one of those two, or McMinn Central, is going to be in the upper part of the bracket, but it would not surprise me in the least if Loretta and Summertown were in the finals.
Right. Let's go ahead and look at the Class 2A boys state tournament. Loretto sitting there undefeated at 32-0, and Seth Massey, good friend of mine at Liberty Creek, who went to Lead Academy and won by 5 on Monday night sub-state game. He gets the unenviable task of facing Loretto. They're 32-0, and a lot of people maybe outside of Lawrence County hadn't heard of them. Murphy, you got to see them earlier this year when Cannon played them. I think it was in the region championship and lost by maybe 5. But Loretto, a very good team, and Liberty Creek, a very solid team as well.
Well, of those 8 teams, Cannon County lost to 2 of them. They lost to Loretto by 5, and then early this week on Monday night, we lost at Hickman County by 2 points. Missed a 3-point shot at the buzzer, just barely off the mark. But this Cannon County team, boys team in particular, was pretty stout this year. And the best news, fact that there's only 2 seniors on that team, so they're going to be a factor next year as well.
We're going to have Jackson County's head coach, which is Kevin Thomas, with us a little bit later in the show, and his team 28-2. Down 9, heading to the 4th on Monday night at home in a big sub-state game against East Nashville. They just simply go on a 24-4 fourth quarter run to win that game 66-55 to get to the state tournament for only the 6th time in school history. Now they're trying to do something that's never been done, and that's win a first round state tournament game. They're 0-5 so far in their history.
Shades of Chattanooga, Notre Dame at Smith County 30 or 40 years ago.
Sure.
Really turned that one around, and really happy to get an Upper Cumberland team.
Class 3A girls, let's look at it. And of course, we're looking at White County down there, bottom part of the bracket at 31-3. And Murph, when you look, I'm proud for Michael Dodgen. Yes, he coached at Smith County and Cannon. We've known Michael a long time. I think he's a class act. I think he does a great job. And I'm happy to see the Warriorettes in Murfreesboro. They've come up short so many times after being ranked number 1 or number 2, but this year they made it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I thought you were going to talk a little bit more. And also, Michael has an incredible sense of humor. I can't tell you some of the jokes he's pulled on Coach Nave at Cannon County, and I'm sure that's the case with some people there at Smith County too. You can't help but root for the guy. He does such a great job.
Go ahead and look at the Class 3A boys tournament. Of course, when you look, you've got Upman, a team out of the Upper Cumberland who went on the road, got a big win in the sub-state. You got Tullahoma, the one that beat Upman in the region finals, coached by Jason Welch. Jason Welch, former coach at Macon County.
Yeah, former Lafayette guy.
It will tickle me to death to see Tullahoma and Upman in that state championship. You've got other teams that are going to have something to say about that, but I don't know that that's not a far-fledged wish.
There's 2 or 3 teams on there you got to scratch your head about. Greenville 25-11, Munford 21-10, and Fulton 18-16. Of course, they've probably played a lot of 4A teams right there in the middle of Knoxville, but you can't help but wonder how good are they really.
Well, the thing with that is you get hot at tournament time. Everybody starts 0-0 in the district tournament. You've seen teams, you saw Pickett County girls several years ago come in with less than 500 record going into the district tournament, and they go all the way and win the state championship with 15, 16, 17 losses. So that does happen, and we'll have an interview with Kevin Thomas, the Jackson County head coach, when we return here to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. Get full court protection 24/7 with DTC Security.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security makeover today.
Why do our customers choose Homeland Community Bank? Because we're committed to providing top-quality financial services while focusing on those personal banking relationships that treat you like the friends and neighbors that you are. From checking and savings to loans of all types, including those focused on business, Homeland Community Bank is truly ready to meet your needs. Contact us today to make the switch to better banking. Homeland Community Bank. Banking by the people, for the people. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Here with Jackson County boys head coach Kevin Thomas. And Coach, we were discussing there before we started this interview of Murphy and I used to do your games back when you played at Jackson County High School. Of course, that was at times y'all were single A, other times you were double A, just like you're double A now, fixing to go back to single A. But first of all, we appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, I'm glad that you all called me and invited me because I just think you all do a great job for high school sports.
Well, we have a good time doing it, Kevin, and obviously you've done a great job in Gainesboro this year. I don't think a lot of people expected you all to go to the state tournament, but you proved them wrong. And tell us about how the season has flowed, and did your attitude just get more positive as the season went along?
Well, Murphy, I'm just going to be honest with you. At the end of the year last year, these kids I've got now, I started 4 sophomores and had 1 senior last year. And it kind of clicked there. We made it to the sub-state game there last year and ended up 19 and 15. And I told the kids, those kids are going to be, they'll be juniors, that I really felt like that we had a really good bunch coming back. And, I said, guys, we're going to have to go through Nashville to get to the state tournament. We've got to get out and play teams that we're going to have to play in that sub-state game. So, it started in the summer. I took them to the BCAT in Memphis, played 4 games. Then during the season, we went to Florida and played Celebration High School in Haines City. And I got Pearl Cone on the schedule just to try to get those kids exposed to, kind of a different brand of basketball to be ready for this sub-state game, and I really feel like it really helped us.
Well, Coach, I know you were down 9, I think, going to the fourth quarter, 51-42, and then you go on a 24-4 run in the final quarter to win it 66-55, and your granddad would have been proud of Kermit Forkham, the gym. Of course, that's who the gym is named after there in Gainesboro. Of course, I know that East Nashville didn't bring maybe 15, 20 people, but, I think the crowd, your team fed off them.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It was kind of, we're up 4 at the half, and they made a call there. They went 2-3 to start the third quarter and started jumping us, trapping us on the sideline. And I'll just be honest with you, we'd went over a little. They'd shown a little of that in the film that I had, but not more than 4 possessions a game. And, just before you know it, we're down 3. It was a 7-0 run there. And, of course, we just kind of was back and forth. I felt like my kids were teetering just a little bit. I called 2 timeouts pretty close there. And, then the crowd got into it, and I just talked to them. I said, listen, we are right here on the verge of this is going to be a game. We got to climb back into it, or this is not going to be a game. And mentally, I thought they were a little bit shook. I don't think they expected to be behind. And, we just changed defenses. We went to started pressing them. And you could tell there at the end of the third quarter, it was bothering East Nashville a little bit. And then, once we, got into the fourth quarter, and when we made that steal, I think Aiden Etherton made a steal, or it may have been Parker Patterson, got it and got the and one. I mean, the crowd just got it. I don't know if they sat down the rest of the quarter. It was really a fun environment.
Kevin, you've got to feel awfully blessed. Coaching in Shelbyville and a good bit of that time with Rick Ensel, I believe, and then being able to go back home is so special. You told us before we came on the air that your wife was from Cookeville. You grew up in Jackson County. Did you find yourself pinching yourself? Is this real? Am I really going home? And are we really going to make something out of Jackson County boys basketball?
Well, I want to be honest with you, Murphy. I know I'm blessed to be around the guys that I've been able to. When I say guys, I mean coaches. You know, of course, my granddad's in the Hall of Fame, and Jim and I played together. Of course, Jim's in the Hall of Fame. We lived together in college. We've done a lot of staying together during us growing up in in our 20s and 30s talking basketball. But my experience at Shelbyville with Coach Insel, not a lot of people's been that fortunate. He took me under his wing, and I was there as an assistant boys coach and a football defense coordinator. And I had coached against him in AAU. Coach Brown and I put, an AAU team together there for a little while, and I got to see Rick on the AAU circuit. And when I got there, he basically said, "Hey, I want you to come in and coach my post kids." And I'll just be honest with you, for 2 years there, Coach Insel and I, we did AAU. We traveled across the country and to be exposed to him and how he runs a program. And to be honest with you, even my third year that I was there and I got the boys' job, we were able to help each other, and that was just a great experience. And then I come back to Jackson County, and I have Coach Halfacre, who's a Hall of Famer,
right,
that's going to help me to get on my staff. And then I've got my ex-coach, Coach Bray, who's won over 500 games. That probably needs to be in the Hall of Fame. I've just been so blessed to be exposed and to learn from a lot of good coaches that's won a lot of basketball games, and I do know how fortunate I am. Can I say that I felt like pinching myself getting back home to be fortunate enough to come back to a place that I know that they care about boys basketball and they care about sports, period. But I've really been blessed for sure.
You've got great diehard fans there that probably remember you playing, and they're still coming to your grandfather's gym to watch Jackson County players now.
Oh, no doubt. I don't know, but some of you all remember these names, but, Coach Danny Huffines was getting in touch with me yesterday. He played for my granddad in the 60s, and Mark Bray, who played for my granddad in the 60s, and those guys are just proud to be Blue Devils, and they were contacting me yesterday, and no doubt that people that's watch me play and in the 80s, and their kids are my kids' age, and it's just been it's been a wonderful experience, and especially to connect and see those guys coming back. We had Mr. Wooten was there, who played on my granddad's 62 team, was at the sub-state game the other night from Gallatin. He come over and talked to me, so it was a fun night to be a Blue Devil.
Coach, when you look at your team, mostly 5'10", 5'11" guys, except for Will McCreary, who's 6'4". He's had an outstanding year. He was the player of the year in District 5 AA. But the four people that you've got around him doesn't allow teams just to submerge in on him, because they're good enough shooters on the outside that they can make you pay.
You're right. I can start with Parker Patterson, who come from our other junior high over here, Dotson's Branch Middle School, and he has come on to be such a player. At one time he was shooting 44% from the 3-point line during the year. He got down to 42, but he's right at 38, 39 right now. Then of course you've got Alex Meadows, who made some big shots for me, and he can get to the rim, and Parker can too. And then we have Aiden Netherton and Isaiah Thomas, who they are both, kids that you just cannot guard hardly. They just can't help off of, and they do a tremendous job on the defensive end, those four guards. I mean, I've really been impressed with how far they've come along defensively, and we're able to switch, and it really doesn't matter who's guarding who. Either one of those four can guard a point guard, or sometimes they have to guard another team's four, if he's not, 6'5" or something, but we've had to do that at times. But I'll tell you, those four guards can play.
Coach, have you had the draw to determine who turns the lights out in Gainsboro when everybody comes to the Glass House next week?
Have I had to draw? I just, you're talking about the late game, I guess, Murphy?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. This is my third trip to the state tournament. And I just, that late game, I talked with Coach McWilliams. He's drew the 9:30 game there with Upperman, and he said, I played in both of them, and he said, I just don't know which one. He said that this 9:30 early in the morning, it's so early, but it makes such a long day for the last one. But I got a feeling that we'll have a bunch of people there be willing to stay till the lights go out, that's for sure.
I'm sure.
Coach, when you look, I know this is, I think, your 6th trip to the state tournament. And from what I was looking at yesterday, y'all hadn't won a first-round game. I know that that's something against Jackson Central Mary that you've got to try to get your team, who hadn't experienced the state tournament before, of being there, being settled. And I think, a lot of times you've got a team that's what I call laid back. You don't see a lot of rah-rah. You don't see a lot of, emotion from them. I think that's going to help you in your first-round game next week.
I sure hope so. We've really talked a lot about these. I've had these kids since they were freshmen, and and not getting. You can't get too high and too low. You can't dwell on bad plays, and you can't get too excited about great plays. Because you got to be steady. I feel like, and they've done a good job of being coachable doing that. I'm taking them to Tech a couple of times before we get up there. I think the biggest thing is that, the depth perception, shooting the ball. And these kids have never been in anything, quite like what they're going to play in, that's for sure. So we're going to Tech's working with me, and I know they do a lot of the teams around here to let them get in the gym and practice. We're going to go up Friday morning and practice, and then we're going to go back Tuesday. Hopefully that'll help them some. And, it's kind of like I watched the movie Hoosiers the other morning just to get myself ready to go for the region tournament. It's kind of one of those things that those kids got to understand. It's a much bigger place, but the floors, everything's the same, except for, for us. I think that 96-foot-long floor, we played on it a bunch. I think it's going to help us. I was really worried about East Nashville on our small floor there at Jackson County with the press and that kind of thing, and it kind of turned in our favor. But I do think the larger floor we played on before will help these guards with the spacing against some of the quickness that we're going to face.
Coach Kevin Thomas, best of luck to you and the Jackson County Blue Devils. Hope you can go down there and get a gold ball. I know Jim Brown wouldn't mind that at all, to go with his 7 or 8 or whatever he's got there in the trophy case.
No, I don't think so. And, I've got to see JCM on video quite a bit here in the last couple of days. And, I think it's going to be a heck of a ball game. I do. They remind you a lot of East Nashville. So, that's the type kind of team we're playing. Their biggest kid's about 6'4". And, the rest of them are just, 6 foot, 5'10", 9'10". So I think it's going to be a heck of a game.
Well, Coach, best of luck.
Good luck, Kevin.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We've been visiting with Kevin Thomas here on the Box Score, and it's been brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old borrowed trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Why do our customers choose Homeland Community Bank? because we're committed to providing top-quality financial services while focusing on those personal banking relationships that treat you like the friends and neighbors that you are. From checking and savings to loans of all types, including those focused on business, Homeland Community Bank is truly ready to meet your needs. Contact us today to make the switch to better banking. Homeland Community Bank. Banking by the people, for the people. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At DTC, we're constantly looking at ways to improve your quality of life, to help you make the most of all your connections, so that you'll have time for the things that matter most, whether at work or play.
Get a $100 gift card when you sign up for DTC Internet. For surfing, streaming, and gaming, DTC is your Internet MVP. When it comes to reliable Internet, there's no more time for slowdowns.
Call or visit DTC online today and make the most of your connections.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
And welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway. Terry Collins along with Murphy Farrell. We've been joined by Mark Purvis, the Watertown baseball coach. And I know, Coach Purvis, when you look, you've had great weather the last few days. But in the spring, you sometimes have cold, you sometimes have rain, you sometimes have perfect days like we've seen the last couple of days. That's the good thing about Tennessee weather. If you'll just wait around a few days, it'll change.
That's right. It'll never know what's going to happen. You got to be, Coach Hunt used to tell us all the time, you got to be really flexible in the spring in baseball for sure.
Coach, for those who don't know you as well as Terry and some others may, how long have you been at Watertown, and how's the season looking for you guys so far?
Well, this is my, fifth year. All the years run together from Mountain Jewett to Watertown. This is my fifth year at Watertown, and so far so good. We didn't play last week. I'm old school, I guess. I wanted that extra week of practice, with the weather and stuff the way it is usually the first 2 weeks. So I didn't think we'd be ready, so we didn't play any last week, and yesterday was our opening day, and we played 2 yesterday. Good day.
Coach, when you look, I know Seth Price is on your staff, and when I think of Watertown, it's hard to not remember here a couple years ago when y'all made a run all the way to the state tournament, and then I believe it was Pigeon Forge you upset in the state championship, who had been ranked number 1 in the state all year long. I know that magic carpet ride is unforgettable. Not that you hadn't had good seasons other than that at Watertown, but when you have a magical postseason run like you had then, it had to be awfully special.
It was. Those kids still come around, and just what I remember most about it is just how tough those kids were. I mean, we were not the most talented team. Actually, my last 2 teams maybe were as talented or more, but they just didn't want to lose, and it was a great, fun group to be around. They just enjoyed each other, and they were close, and they just competed really, really hard.
Coach, it sounds like I've heard a lot of coaches say they'd rather be lucky than good anytime, and it sounds like maybe that's what that season was all about. But this year's team, tell us about that, and how many pitchers do you have in your rotation right now?
Well, right now we're fortunate. I think we didn't have much coming back as far as on paper arms, but we've had a couple young kids really emerge and get stronger and better, and really looking for them to solidify our staff. But we're kind of sorting through 6 or 7 guys right now that we think can help us. Trying to figure out who can close for us, maybe who can be one of those guys we can count on in mid relief. But right now we've got 4 or 5 guys starting that we feel pretty confident in, and three right now are throwing really well. So, I told the team, I tell every team, you've got to have three good starters to win a tournament. You just do. You got to have that third guy, so important. And then if you have a guy on the back end that you can rely on, then you feel really confident about your team going tournament time.
Coach, looking at the district, of course, a lot of people feel that Watertown and Smith County will be at the top, but when you look at York, Monterey, and Jackson County, they're not just, poor teams. I think it'll be a very competitive district.
It should be. Smith County, lost several, but they still got the Gammons kid and still got the younger Martin kid and a couple other, really good players, young players that they think could be really good players. And, we lost several from last year, but we got some young players kind of stepping in. So, Monterey and the others, like you said, are not bad teams at all. They can beat you on any day. So it is going to be tough.
Coach, how many games are on your schedule? How many of you already played, and who have you already played?
We just played the two yesterday. It was the first two games we opened up with Jackson. Jackson County actually started the district games right away. Supposed to play Monday and Tuesday, but their boys were in the section on Monday night. So he asked if we could move to a doubleheader yesterday, which we did. So we played two yesterday and had to win both.
Coach, when you look at Watertown and the great facilities that you have there, I love the layout. When you look at that, from the gym to the football field to baseball to softball, soccer, and all that. I hope that if anybody's watching this show and you're ever going to design a layout of a school and the athletic facilities, I don't know of anybody's that I'd rather go to than Watertown High School.
We're really fortunate. It was laid out really well. Luttrell and guys designing the school do a great job with how it is laid out. It's as a Mountain Jew, we were fortunate there. Mr. Brown and all the coaches, we worked together on that one, and it turned out really nice. And going to Watertown, I was fortunate again. Facilities are a huge thing to me. I mean, the field, the facilities, all that matters a lot in the program.
Coach, I just want to add to what Terry just asked you about. The layout for all your sports teams is incredible. And then when they got that indoor facility there, that was just the icing on the cake. Does Coach Webster let you use that facility for your baseball players?
He actually does. That's one thing about Watertown I really enjoyed is everybody works together to try to, have everybody try to achieve success. And that's been the fun part about Watertown is everybody just kind of, really tries to help each other, and he does, and it's been a big, big deal for us. And when we made the state tournament run a couple years, in 2022, we played at Riverdale, so it was turf, and so we go in there and take ground balls on, in their turf, every day pregame, so we're on natural grass, so that helped a ton then.
Coach, when you look, Eric Trusty, of course, your athletic director, and then Darren Brown, a former coach, is your principal. And I know they have, your back and you've got their full support. It's not that way at every place you go. And I know having those two men in those positions has got to be a big plus.
No doubt. I've been very fortunate to have administrators who were very supportive and understood. Takes a lot off your plate, when they understand and they block some of the stuff that comes through, and you don't hear some of the things, and they, just really, they're there. They're supportive, and been very fortunate with what I've got now and what I've had in the past. Also, very, very lucky.
Coach, most of my high school coverage has been involved in football. But I think the same thing holds true in basketball and baseball and girl sports too. In order to be successful, you gotta have good players, you gotta have good coaches, you've gotta have good administrators, and you've gotta have good parents who are doing a lot of things. And it seems to me that you've got all those ingredients. That's probably making your job a whole lot easier.
No doubt about that. I've said, in the past, I try to stay out of the players' way if they're getting after it and doing what they're supposed to do. Sometimes I'm not, but I try to. But you got good players, like you said, and if the parents support that, which at Watertown they do, they want me to coach them and coach them hard, which I try to do. And then, with the administration and all that, I'm very fortunate with that. But if I don't mess everything up, we should be fine.
Coach Purvis, let's talk a little bit about the schedule. I like the fact that it's a Monday, Tuesday when you play district games. You've got at your place maybe on Monday, and then you go on the road on Tuesday. And I feel like, that shows the balance maybe of teams if just has one pitcher versus, several. And I know used to you only played those 2 games and that was it. But now you're going further in the season and making another round of games, later in the season after you get done with those other 4 district components where you go home and away.
Right. I pushed for when, the Silver went to the 4 classes and all the districts got smaller. And we knew you only have 4 or 5 teams in a district. I thought it was important to go to 3-game series. That way you take all the tiebreakers out for seeding and all that for the tournament. So, just having home and away with 4 teams wouldn't be enough games. So everybody went to 3, and instead of having a 3-game series one week, I just feel like that 3rd game in 1 week is it just drags on. It's not as competitive as I think a district game should be. So still on the back end, still can only see one of those arms, and you still get your 3-game series, so it works out well.
Mark, how well balanced is your district? Do you think it's kind of wide open, or is somebody other than yourself maybe going to be the team to beat in your particular district this spring?
I would probably say, I think us in Smith County should be battling at the top. Now, that's on paper. A lot of things can change, but Smith County might have a slight edge with some of their experienced guys from last year, but. And then after that, I think, York will always have a good arm in there, and Monterey will be there too. So, I think us and Smith might be on paper a little better at the top, but it's still going to be, it's going to be a grind to get through it.
But that's kind of the way you'd like to have it. You don't want a bunch of runaways, do you?
No, that gets you prepared for tournament time when you have a good district. It really does.
Coach,
when I was at Mount Juliet, I felt like our district, AAA, was so tough that if you made it through and got out of there, you had a chance to make a run. I think the same thing here.
Coach, when you look at the season, and of course, you're looking at about another week, which you chose not to play, that a lot of people, did, but you've got about 2 months right there of, sometimes you've got 2, 3, 4 games a week. And I've noticed that non-district wise, and I haven't seen your schedule yet this year, but in past, and especially in the year that you won the state, you scheduled a lot of tough non-district opponents, which I think a lot of people don't understand. That makes you ready for the tournament and makes you ready for a postseason run. They're not going to remember if Watertown went 25-0 in the regular season and then lost in the district tournament. What they're going to remember is how well you did in the postseason.
I agree, and I think that's one thing that really helped us against Pigeon Forge a couple of years ago. Is I felt like our schedule was so tough. We had lost. We actually lost 8 games early. I think we were 11-8 at one time, and rattled off 18 out of our last 19 games with wins. And so I think that adversity made us tough and hardened us up for tournament time. And sometimes when you don't have that adversity, you just roll through, and I don't know if, Pigeon Forge might not have that adversity. They lost a couple games that year. So I just felt like we were tough. We were hardened at the right time. And you'll see it a lot of times in college basketball, and teams that go through a lot of adversity and play a tough schedule. And if you can get through that and stick together and get through all that with that adversity, you can be a really good team at the right time.
Well, Coach Purvis, we appreciate you visiting with us. Best of luck to the Watertown Purple Tigers baseball team.
Thank you all very much for having us.
Hey, we've been visiting with Mark Purvis, the head coach for Watertown baseball, and when we return, we'll have Kyle Shoulders, the Macon County State Championship team football head coach. As we remind you, you're watching The Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Do you ever worry about the safety of your home when you leave? Or at night while you're sleeping? Then give your home a professional security makeover with help from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. Get full court protection 24/7 with DTC Security.
Contact us and start your home's DTC Security makeover today.
Why do our customers choose Homeland Community Bank? Because we're committed to providing top-quality financial services while focusing on those personal banking relationships that treat you like the friends and neighbors that you are. From checking and savings to loans of all types, including those focused on business, Homeland Community Bank is truly ready to meet your needs. Contact us today to make the switch to better banking. Homeland Community Bank. Banking by the people, for the people. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We're with head coach Kyle Shoulders of the Macon County Tigers, and Coach, we saved the best for last, and when we say that, a state championship in Macon County, I know you still got to be in shock or in awe of that, being there, alumnus there, your family from there, to lead the Tigers to the state championship. That was a special, special thing.
It really was, Terry. It's been a special event for our community, our school, just everybody involved. 7 years ago, and when I came back here, I had a conversation in a vehicle with an assistant coach there at Oakland about making the move back here, and in that decision making, and I mentioned to him, this is just what's best for my family. It's home. I want to be back. And I followed that up with, may never win a state championship again, may never get that opportunity, but it's what's best for, my family. And I want to be back home where I graduated. And so to say that we ever predicted or thought that a run like that was in the future, I'd be foolish to say that we did. But just by happenstance, I tell you, we had a great group of young men that came in and did some things that no one probably really expected to ever happen.
Well, a lot of coaches and a lot of fans have different opinions about a coach going home. And a lot of times that works, but I think even more times it doesn't work. What made that such a good fit for you going back home?
I tell you, Murph, you know, there was multiple times that I'd shown some interest about coming home, and some other opportunities that the job came available. There were some times where maybe I wasn't willing to come back, and probably more times that they weren't ready for me to come back. So I think the timing is important. You know, I think it's important that, you know, to obtain the experience outside of my comfort zone. The experience that we got there in Murfreesboro with Coach Creasy at Oakland was invaluable, and I had an opportunity for several years there to make a lot of mistakes before coming home with some people that were more receptive to my mistakes, probably. And you know, the timing seemed right. Both parties was heavily invested in coming back home, being me, the community, and our school, our principal at the time, director of schools at the time, and it just felt right. And at that point, you know, we just kind of rolled up our sleeves and went to work, really not even looking at what type of outcome that we wished for the program up ahead. We just took one day at a time, and it's kind of snowballed into this. We went from 32 kids on the roster when we took it over seven years ago, and right now we're sitting around 110.
Wow.
The thing has just grown astronomically, and you know, that's kind of a product of our assistant coaches, the way that they operate on a daily basis and developing relationships with these kids, and getting buy-in from those, and just kind of, you know, thankful that it worked out the way it did.
All right, Kyle, I'm going to play devil's advocate for just a second. I've known you since you were just a wee kid, and watched you play all the way up through junior pro basketball back in the olden days, all the way up to a player at Macon County Junior High, then high school. And then Kyle Shoulders makes everybody thinks the biggest mistake of his life when he goes into his coaching career and goes to Red Bowling Springs, the graveyard of high school football. And I don't mean that in a bad kind of way, but then you go over there and were very successful. That let me know that you could take a program and rebuild it. Okay, step number 2, Kyle leaves Red Bowling and goes to Oakland. And everybody's like, why is he going there? It's too far of a drive, yada, yada, yada. You know, a lot of people, you know, question that. Then they question about you coming home and having the success that you have had, culminated with a state championship this year. So I like the fact that Kyle Shoulders proves people wrong.
Well, I'll tell you, Terry, that going to Red Bowling will probably always stay with me, just for the fact that I hurt that overall record, regardless if I coached for 100 years. However, that experience at Red Bowling Springs, and I was alluding to that a little bit earlier when I said that some people stuck with me through, you know, a lot of mistakes. You know, you make a lot of mistakes on Friday nights, probably just on a real good coach at the time, but that community at Red Bowling really supported me. There were some great folks over there that, regardless of what was going on, really just continued to support our program and support myself. And it was an opportunity for me to learn really every single in and out of running a program. And I say that because there just wasn't a ton of resources. I was picking up the trash, I was mowing the grass, we were painting the lines, we were stocking the concession stand. Sometimes we were lining up someone new every Friday night that would do the PA or keep the scoreboard. And my hand had to be on every bit of that. I had to touch it in some form or fashion. And that was a lot of great experience, valuable experience that I've been able to take with me throughout my other moves. Now, going to Oakland was probably the scariest move I had made, just because it was out of my comfort zone. I knew what kind of burden it was going to put on my family, being an hour and a half away. However, I felt like it was necessary to really be able to develop as a coach from an X's and O's standpoint and learn from who I think is one of, if not the best high school football coach in the state, and in Coach Creasy there. So all those different ends of the spectrum, as those two programs really are on two different levels, allowed me to create a portfolio, if you will, of one extreme to the other. But if I had to say one experience was much more valuable than the other, I would have to say my experience there at Red Bull and Springs was probably the greatest experience for me to get to this point, because there's no clinic, there's no classes, there's no degree that one can obtain that can truly prepare you in the way of just learning on the run. And that's truly what it was at Red Bull and Springs. We were learning as we go, and just thankfully those people from the administration all the way up continued to be supportive, regardless if it was 2-8 or 6-4.
Kyle, while we're on that subject, let's talk about the state championship rings. I know that was a tremendous expense, and people have stepped up. I don't want you to name businesses, but it echoes what you just said about the support from the community, because that's a very expensive endeavor. Jonathan Bush, who's a good friend of yours and mine both, has that problem at Gordonsville. Now he's won 2 and looking to win 3 in a row.
Yeah.
But still, that just goes to show you the support that the Tiger football team has.
Yeah, I really had no idea how much money it truly took to win. I mean, if we would have lost before that state championship week, it would have saved us quite a bit of money. Just to be honest, that was about a $12,000-$15,000 trip just going down there. Which again, we had community members that pitched in and supported that. And when you start talking about rings, I think there's roughly between something, whether it's rings or pendants or what, I think there's about 135 of those that's been ordered, and it's just an astronomical expense that comes with that. But through the support of all involved, we've been able to make sure that, we took our time with those rings. We had some good advice from some great colleagues of mine that said, listen, whatever you do, just buy the biggest one in the catalog, because you don't know if you'll ever get to do it again. But we were able to take our time with that and make sure we sure didn't cut any corners in designing that thing. That was a special thing to get to do, and I just wish they would get here a little quicker. I think they're supposed to be here maybe sometime in May, but I know our guys are extremely excited about that.
Cal, I've kind of got a tough question for you, but I figure you've probably got a good answer for it. What has pleased you most about winning a state championship that people might not think was even on the list?
Probably just the unity of everyone that was involved, and it wasn't just the win of the state championship in which they displayed that. I think just the opportunity for our guys to get to display on a statewide level, just truly how good they were to get the opportunity to display how unselfish they were. I know that in our field coaching that terms such as that, being unselfish, playing for each other, that it can become somewhat cliche. But our guys really, truly did display a sense of togetherness. And I think through that, the community, while witnessing that, brought a sense of togetherness too. It may have began with, just the people inside of our field house. But the way that they displayed themselves all throughout the course of the season, especially in the playoffs. They just did not let negativity, division sneak in. There was no big guys. I mean, I got a 2-time Mr. Football finalist on my team whose touches have practically been cut in half. The guy never complained and supported his teammates as much or more than he would have if he was carrying it all the time and getting all the recognition. And, I think that is probably my greatest thing to talk about in regards of that young man. And he done phenomenal things throughout his career, but to see those things display and pour over into our community and, for once you're seeing the fans in the stands, they're rooting for the other kid that doesn't belong to them. Those things are just really special. And I think when it comes playoff time and it gets in the 3rd and the 4th round, the championship game, in order to be successful, that's kind of what you got to have. But I think just the sense of togetherness and how our community all just came together really shows me how special of a place it is.
Well, Coach Kyle Shoulders, we appreciate you visiting with us. I know it was special for you and your family, and to have your wife and kids there on the field after the win at University of Tennessee Chattanooga, I know was special. Your parents there. We won't say much about your siblings because you're kind of like me. You like them sometimes and not so much other times, but I will say this about your kids. I've seen them eat more candy in church than about any trio that I've ever seen. So
who's providing that candy?
Probably provided by you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're probably the cause of the root canal. Probably going to pay for it.
But surely you've got a big bonus after that state championship or you get free dental work, there in the Fed, right?
Did you miss the part where I said it cost me more money than it did? No, hey, I will tell you, this will be a plug for him. Carlisle, just like I do. The guy's in dentist school right now. He coached with us last year, so he promises me as soon as he gets out, he's going to open up a place here in Macon County, and our program is going to get all custom mouthpieces. So you can help me. You can help me in holding him
accountable. There you go.
That's right. Of course, Seth Carlisle married Madison Spivey from Smith County, known Seth a long time as well.
Yeah.
Coach Kyle Shoulders, congratulations to you and the Tigers. I know on your first ever state championship victory.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Kyle.
Okay, we've been visiting with Kyle Shoulders of Macon County, and Murph, that'll about wrap it up for the Box Score 30th and final edition. And it's been a joy for you and for I. We're blessed to live in this area, but then see the athletes that we see. Thanks so much to Justin Malden, always doing a great job behind the scenes for us, and for all our fine sponsors. Thanks to you. You're the reason we're able to do this. For Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins. We've had a great season here on the Box Score. We want to thank Carthage Safeway, our title sponsor.